everyone, it's Julie Kent, and today's video is about 10 things, 10 very important things that it's very important for you to remember when you are writing your first novel or even your second novel. These are 10 things that I had to actually learn along the way when I was writing my first novel, and I'm trying to keep them in mind while I've written two, I'm on my third. I'm trying to keep these in mind while I'm writing my third one. But before I get started with these 10 really important things, if you could please hit that subscribe link below this video to subscribe to this channel and also like the video, that would be great. So we can get started. Okay, the number one thing to remember, you will not find time to write. You got to make the time to write. If you want to write a novel or a short story, or this actually would work for anything that you want to write, you are not going to just find the time in midair. You have to make it. I'm going to tell you how I did my first book. What I did was I wrote for 1 hour every morning before I went to work. Every single morning, I got my butt out of bed at 5 a.m. and did some writing for about an hour before getting ready for work. That I had to be at the office by 7. That was not an easy task by any means. This type of a writing schedule will not work for everybody, because writing every day is not easy. I will tell you, it's a tough schedule to stick to. I just found that it worked for me because it totally kept my mind focused and into what I was doing. It kept me engaged from scene to scene. I never forgot what I was writing about. I never forgot, where I was with my characters, with my plot, which scene I was doing. It really worked for me. I'm not saying that I didn't have to go back and rewrite a couple of chapters here and there, because everybody has to do that. Everybody edits this and edits that and writes things out and adds things. I did have to fix lots of things, believe me. But that is what works for me. That is kind of what I still do. But everybody else, just figure out what works for you. You might pick a couple of nights a week, say this Tuesday and Thursday, these are only the 2 nights that I write. But you need to make the time, you need to make a schedule, or it's not going to happen, because you're not going to be able to just find it. You're going to have to create it. Okay, number 2, if you want to write a novel, and I know this was definitely true for me, you have to have a real strong passion to want to do so. Because writing a novel or any big writing project, it's tough. And it's that passion that's going to drive you from start to finish. It's going to get you to the finish line. It's going to get you to the last page. If you don't have the passion to do what you're trying to do, you're never going to make it through it. You might, but it's not going to be your A work, and it's going to show, and your readers are going to pick up on it, and you know it. So you just need to have a real strong passion for it. And if your passion is just not there yet, then just put it off. Just wait a minute, wait a little bit until that passion arrives, and see if it's really what you want to do. But the passion is really what's going to drive you. So it's really important that you have that. Number 3, you need to be prepared for setbacks. Setbacks happen. They happen in any form. There can be big setbacks. There can be little setbacks. There can be big setbacks like writer's block. Let me tell you, writer's block is a real thing. You hear about it. People talk about it. You see it on TV. It is real. When it happens, because it's happened to me, and it's kind of scary, because it almost makes you think, oh, I'm done, and it makes you just want to stop. But you have to get past it. Writer's block hit me in a way that I was in the middle of my book, and I just froze. I didn't know which direction I wanted to go anymore at one point, and I got scared, I think. So I needed to overcome that, and you're going to have to do that. If this happens to you, you're just going to have to figure out a way around it and overcome it. The way I overcame writer's block was to just completely delete the chapter I was working on and rewrite the entire thing. And that happens quite frequently from what I understand. I've talked to other authors, and I'm not alone there. But that's a major setback that happened to me, because it doesn't last for a few minutes. It hits writer's block. It hit me, and I couldn't write anything for over a week, and that was bad for me, because remember, I just told you I was writing for every single day. I was writing every single day, and for me to go a week without being able to write anything because I was frozen, that was huge. So be prepared for setbacks, and don't be discouraged by them. You need to just overcome them. Push them aside and overcome them. You will get through it. Okay, number 4, keep it interesting. Keep your writing interesting. As you're writing it, you need to ask yourself a couple of questions. When you're halfway through your book, or all the way through your book even, ask yourself, if this was a movie, would it be something that I would go see? Would I recommend it to my friends? If you're on chapter 12, if this was a TV series, would they be canceling me by now, or would they be continuing this story? Would they keep going? Because if you can answer these questions and say yes, and be truthful about that, you can pretty much guarantee that's what your readers are going to be thinking also. You can also have somebody else look at your work and ask them these questions. Somebody who you know will be honest with you. So keep that in mind. It's got to be somebody that will be honest with you. So make sure you keep it interesting. Which kind of leads me to the next one. Number 5 is, you want to write to a specific audience with a specific goal in mind. I pretty much write horror. I write a little bit of, the one I'm writing now is more like a thriller type thing, suspense thriller. But the 2 I have out, they're horror, they're supernatural horror stories. And they're pretty much written for the young adult. Maybe even, I don't know, if it was a movie, it would be PG-13, that type, you want to write for a specific audience. My books are not something that I would advise a 10-year-old to read. I have an 11-year-old nephew who has asked me to read my books, and I won't even let him read them yet. I told him probably not until he's at least 12, because it's a little bit PG-13, in my opinion. It's a little risque. So keeping that in mind, you're writing to a specific audience with a specific goal. If that's who I'm writing to, that's who I want to buy my books. I'm not trying to sell it to anybody, to people outside that age range, just to sell a book. So I'm pretty much geared toward adults and young adults, even teenagers. Which brings me to number 6. Number 6, you gotta know your reader's attention span. If, in fact, you write children's books, you know that their brains work differently than ours. You can't write a chapter that's 20 pages long. They like pages that aren't even 20 words long sometimes. So keeping that in mind, writing children's books is completely different than writing for the young adults. If you're writing children's books, you got to keep in mind that they're usually picture books that have 20 to 50 words on a page. Then you turn the page. Probably by the time you are at the end of the book in its entirety is probably only about 1,500 words long. Okay? When you read a novel that's geared toward adults, The smaller novels are 60,000 words long. Now, depending on the genre, mine is horror and it's geared toward the young adults. So my chapters are short because I know they're not going to want to read long chapters. They're not going to want to put a book down in the middle of a chapter. My book is a book that you can pick up, read a few pages, and be done with a chapter, and be able to put it down for a little bit. Because most people, I myself included, do not want to read a book and then have to stop in the middle of a chapter, especially if I mean, my chapters, very specific things happen in different chapters, but some books are written whereas one chapter flows right into the next chapter, and it's very hard to follow if you have to stop in the middle of one. So you need to know if you're writing to people who are willing to commit to a 50-page chapter before pausing, or a 5-page chapter. You just need to know your audience. You need to know their attention span. Which, now we're on number 7. Nobody likes to talk about money, but be prepared to spend money. I know this has nothing to do with what we were talking about with your audience, but this is in the top 10 things. You need to be prepared to spend money. I'm a self-published author, as a lot of people are when they publish their first book, for their first couple of books, whatever. You're going to seek out decent publishers, self-publishers with good reputations, this, that, and the other thing, and it costs money. It costs a lot of money to publish your book. So at best, you want to make that money back, but don't expect to make above and beyond that money too much for your first book. Be prepared to spend probably more than you make. Hopefully you'll make more than you spend, but be prepared to spend money up front is what I'm getting at. You're not going to publish your book without putting up money up front. So that's unfortunate, but it is the truth. So it kind of leads me to number 8. Once your first book is published, you need to take advantage of free press. You really need to take advantage of free press. What is free press? We're talking about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you don't have these up and running, if you don't have pages for these sites, you need to do so if you want to be a published author and if you want to sell any books outside of just family members, because these are golden. They're free. You can advertise as frequently as you want, and you can put anything on there. Like whenever your book goes live on Amazon, you can throw your Amazon link right out there on all of your social media outlets, and over and over and over and over again, just keep throwing it on there until people just start hitting it. Anything that you do as an author, advertise it on these social media sites. I have a book signing coming up at Barnes & Noble in Salisbury, Maryland this Saturday from 1 to 3, by the way, for my 2 books. There is a book signing, and I have put flyers. I've posted onto all my social media outlets. They have a flyer in the store. I actually know somebody that works at the local news station here. I actually got a spot on there to talk about my first book. So take advantage of the people that you know. You have to use all your resources, because when you're a self-published author, it's up to you to do all this work to get your name out there. Once your name gets out there, it'll become easier. But you need to take advantage of the free press. Do not forget that. That is very important. Also important, number 9, make sure you give credit where credit is due. In the opening pages of your book, you also want to give make a dedication page and an acknowledgement page. For, you have somebody editing your book, you have somebody proofreading your book, maybe. I did. I have a woman who designs my book covers. Her name is Dawn. She does a great job. So I name her to give her a little recognition in the front of the book. Now these people, they say they don't want or need the recognition, but I know it makes them feel good to see their name in my book. You'll see the same thing. It's going to make people feel good to see their name in your book. So give credit where it's due. Okay? Now, this might be the most important part, the most important one. Number 10, out of all these things we just talked about, number 10. It's kind of a combination of two things. Just write and save. All you have to do when you think you can handle all the rest of these things, just start writing and saving. Save everything you write. Well, that's obvious, right? Because of course you're going to save your novel. No, what I mean is when I have my writing sessions, I save my work after every couple of paragraphs, because there are power outages, there are computer crashes, anything can go wrong, and I would be absolutely devastated if I had just written the scene of my life and my computer went down. I would be devastated, because I mean you work so hard on that stuff. So everything you write, make sure you save it, and don't write for 2 hours and then save. No, save after each little bit of information you put on the page. Save frequently. Email it to yourself so that you can access it from different computers. Save it on different devices. So I email it to myself. I have it saved on my work computer. I have 3 computers in the house it's saved on. I actually can access it from my cell phone because it's on my email. So you need to make sure you do all these things so your work never gets lost. That's very, very important. So anyway, that is gonna do it for this. So one thing I just want to leave you with is a little word of advice. Before you start doing all this, you just need to figure out what kind of a writer you are, whether you are an outliner or a pantser. That sounds funny, I know, but I am a pantser. A pantser is simply somebody who writes by the seat of their pants, which I do. I write and the story just comes out. I find that my scenes flow better, my ideas come to me quicker, and I'm more creative when I just write the stuff down. Some people outline their characters, they outline their scenes, they might outline their whole book before they write a single word. And that's perfectly fine. Either way you want to write your story is perfectly fine. You just need to figure out what works for you. Then just start writing and saving. But for right now, I'm getting ready to leave you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe link on the way out and like the video. And for now, good night and good luck. Good luck with your writing. I want to hear all about it. Please leave me comments with questions of any videos you want to see me post on here, anything you want me to talk about, or any questions you might have about this video. Thank you very much and have a great night. Until next time.